This is James Lutton for Round 8 Boxing. Delighted to join with TJ Doheny. TJ, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, ready.
Ready. First question, Nick Ball fight. How big is this fight for you at this stage of your career?
Huge. You know, you're on the back end of your career, coming off a loss for undisputed and straight back in. It's huge, mate. I thought I was 2-3 fights away from getting back to this position. I'm straight back in. I'm excited.
Were you shocked that Nick Ball took this fight?
No, to a certain extent, because you know they might be just thinking it's a routine defence before he moves on to bigger things, and going by the way people are talking, that's probably the way they're looking at it. But in terms of the challenge in front of him Saturday night, yeah, I am shocked.
You mentioned obviously there, it was mentioned in the press conference as well, potentially Nick Ball overlooking you. For you to focus on Nick Ball, how important, and obviously experience as well, how important is it to not overlook an opponent?
Oh, it's crazy. Like you heard him say up there about me losing to Beluga. That was my kick in the ass in my career back in 2020. But I lost to Beluga in an 8-round nothing fight, overlooked him, didn't go over to camp or nothing, just flew out to Australia, thought it was going to be a routine win. And Beluga showed up and just thrown heaps of punches. Even though I think I won the fight, he threw heaps of punches. I made it a close fight and he got the nod. So that's how I know how important it is, because that took me out number one to WBC. I was sent an option to fight for an eliminator against Angelo Lea for the IBF. I was sitting pretty right to go back as a two-time world champion. Lost to Beluga, COVID hit, bang, everything stopped for 2 years for me, you know. So I know how important it is not to overlook an opponent. It's taken me 4 years to get back to championship level when I fought Inoue recently, and I'm getting another bite of the cherry here now, so it's really good.
What was the biggest takeaway from that Beluga fight when you thought, okay, I need to not overlook anyone? What did you change anything, whether it be mentally or in camp, for every fight since then?
Yeah, it was an 8-round nothing fight. I watched him tape on Beluga. The way I was feeling and the way I was like moving around, I thought, yeah, I've got enough. I got enough in the bag to get through an 8-round fight, just to get the ball rolling again for bigger fights later on in the year. And I just stupidly went in there, and I think it was more mentally for me, just completely overlooking the kid, disrespecting him, and you can't do that. It's professional boxing, and you know, like I say, it took me 4 years of hard work and waiting around and frustration and thinking, am I ever going to get another title shot? So I know what it's like, and I disrespected Beluga and I paid the ultimate price.
With those sort of stay busy fights, just to stay active, little 8-rounders here and there, how much of a gamble are they?
Yeah, they're crazy for a lad that's been fighting. I'm a 12-round fighter. I've been fighting 12-rounders since my 5th fight. So that's the way I my fights develop and unfold. So when you start having close rounds and you might be a little bit behind in an 8-rounder, and you're in there against a guy who can see the finish line, like I was coming on strong late in that fight, and he was ready to go. So like that'd be a 12-rounder, we probably would have got to him. But when you can see the finish line, you stay going, because you don't have much longer to endure in the fight, But look, that's well behind me now, all that stuff. But I learned a valuable lesson there in that fight.
Are you excited about fighting in Liverpool? I know it's Nick Ball's home, but there's a lot of Irish over here as well.
Yeah, it's not even about that. About like who's in the crowd. Nothing for that. I've got a good crowd coming over myself, but I just like when there's an energetic crowd, and like I said in the press conference, it's not about who they're shouting for. You feed off it, because when it lands a shot, it doesn't matter who lands the shot, the crowd goes crazy, and that kind of stuff. And there's zero pressure on me, and I'm just really excited for it.
Obviously, it was mentioned a lot in the press conference by Dev there about the comment that Nick Ball made about you quitting against Inoue, and you had a very different response this time round to last time. You said at the time it's very raw. Now you've sort of almost forgotten about it, I suppose. Did it make it personal at all for you, though?
Of course it's personal when someone calls you a quitter. Go back through my career. I've been in much worse spots in fights and got through it than I was in the Inoue fight. I wasn't even like taking that much punishment. It was like he was probably nicking a couple of... I would probably give myself 2 rounds in that fight, but the rest of them, he wasn't winning the rounds by much. It wasn't like I was getting beat down and about to be knocked out and I went, oh, I don't want anymore. And there's a big difference between raising your hand because you're injured, you cannot continue against a killer, than saying, oh, I've had enough. And this is what I took from it. People were thinking that I put my hand up because I had enough and I didn't want any more. No, I'm in there to get. I have to be scraped off the canvas. You know what I mean, to get me out of there. But when your back goes and you literally can't even get into your stance, what are you supposed to do? So for that, I had to raise my hand and just say I can't continue. Simple as that.
And we mentioned about lessons and learning from the Blues fight. What did you learn from that Inoue fight when you had to pull out due to the injury? What did you learn most from that?
I learned that I made the right move because I'm straight back in the championship level. If I had to be the tough man and go, the next thing was to just stand on the ropes, D up because I wouldn't been able to do anything else. I knew I would have pummeled me on the ropes and turned me into a reel. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think by me just deciding that I can't continue, well, not deciding, but like my body telling me I can't continue, there was nothing I could do. And you know, I think it was a smarter move to say that than to probably take a career-threatening beating on the ropes because I wouldn't have been able to defend myself.
You head into this fight as the underdog, but it's not the first time you've had that in your career. Do you thrive off that?
Yeah, I enjoy being the underdog because it's always like, you know, I show these cunts, you know, that way. So that's what I like about that, and that's what gets me motivated in the camp, and that's what keeps me going too. So I'm like, I got something to show these guys. These are thinking, oh, he's 38, oh, he's on the back end, he's starting to slow down. When that's not the case, honestly, mate, mentally, experience-wise, and just the way I'm moving, the way I've been sparring, and the way I've been boxing in camp, it's honestly, I feel really good, and it's probably the best camp I've had for a long time. So I'm really excited for it.
What do you bring to the table that Nick Bull has not seen so far in his career?
I think like he's been in there against boxers, but I just think the boxers that he's been in there with, they haven't got the same IQ as me, and I think just me being able to deal with what Nick brings to the table is going to be the difference. The other guys were kind of standing in front of him and they were trying to box him, but then they were sitting right there in front of him, you know what I mean? And he was just walking down, breaking them down and getting them out of there, you know? And if he's not getting them out of there, he's just wearing them down and pummeling them, you know? So I think just with my experience and just knowing how to deal with all that kind of stuff, I think that's going to be the difference between the two of us on Saturday night.
In the first press conference, you said that Nick Bull will be starfished on the canvas in front of his home fans. Is that what you envision? Is that what you're visualising and manifesting, a knockout victory?
There and then, I wanted to fucking knock him out because he's calling me a quitter to my face, you know. But when you're being in a camp, you're sitting down watching tape on him every day, going through stuff. My coach Hector Bermudez, he knows how much of a slick, silky boxer I am, and he's been sharpening that stuff up, you know. So we got the tools. We know how to set traps. We know how to walk him onto stuff. We won't be going looking for it. But if he wants to get reckless and walk onto something, it could be a very early night for him, you know. But we'll be boxing, and we'll be as long as I stick to my boxing ability, I'm going to stay ahead of him every round in the fight. And if he makes a mistake, boom, it's Sweetie Birds.
TJ Doheny, thank you for your time and best of luck for Saturday. Thank you, mate. Top man, appreciate it.